Yeah. Good evening and welcome to City Council meeting of July 14th, 2026. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members present and establishing a quorum are Council members Fulcher, Beaumont, Hanford, Walker, Gamble, and Blair.
Thank you. Councilmember Fisher indicated that he would be absent unless there are objections. Their absence will be considered excused. Hearing no objections, their absence is excused. Councilmember Walker, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First, I'm a little rusty. First item of business is public comments. Clerk, do we have anyone signed up? No one signed up? Okay. Were there any written comments for tonight's meeting? Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anyone in the public who would wish to speak? Sir, address the podium, say your name and your relationship to the city, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay, my name is Ryan Schlemmer. I'm a resident of the city, and the nature of my comments are regarding fireworks. So we started off this year, first meeting of the year, talking about this. We knew it was coming, 4th of July. And what goes on here in Monroe is 15 hours of permitted chaos that is wildly out of control and wildly out of step with our current population. Might have been fine 20, 30 years ago, but I'll tell you this. When I talk to the police, and we have at least one member here, they can probably attest to this, they say we just simply don't have enough resources to actually respond to everything anymore, given the size of the city. So you get people lighting off fireworks starting around the 1st or 2nd. They were still going last night. Nobody stops it. Warnings are given. Lots of warnings are given, but there's nothing with teeth happening. So I'll share an anecdote. I had a neighbor blowing off mortars a block away from me. The 2nd, my dog runs downstairs, and I've had dogs that have come and gone through our home, sadly, over the last 20 plus years. None of them like fireworks. All of them run scared. So residents are kind of put in the position to either drug their dogs or get out of town, which is what we choose to do. My wife took our dogs this year, and I watched the house to make sure it didn't burn down this year. So we had 3 trees burned down 2 years ago. We don't participate in any of this stuff, so we just deal with the putting out of the fires and all the explosions. So I approached a neighbor and I said, hey man, would you mind waiting until the 4th of July? And I got the emboldened, like, what are you doing here? Kind of, he was provocative, and he ended up, I tried to appeal to him and say, look, it's my dogs, blah, blah, blah. He just kind of lit a firework like that, looking at me like that, threw it at me, right at my feet. Police come, gave him a warning. So that's on your brochure too. That's on the city website. An explicitly prohibited activity is throwing fireworks at people. This is done. The street behind me is 157th. It's the one the city permits to close down. Literally shows up on Google Maps as closed down. Next day, there is a car-sized pile of debris, literally. I'll show you the pictures if you want to see them, of what goes on right behind my house. So I'm just saying that at this point, given the growth of the city, I think it's time to start the Music in the Park a week earlier, make an event out of it, out of Lake Ty, give people a place to go and observe a city-run fireworks show that, you know, like other cities starts at like 9:30, ends at 10 or whatever, and do it responsibly. Last comment, if the police can't respond, then it is irresponsible to keep allowing this. And that's kind of, sorry, but I'm putting that on you. It's irresponsible.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public that would like to speak? Okay. I'm like, where does it? Consider it closed, public comment. I'm missing my script. Okay, next item of business is the consent agenda. Turn to council. Councilmember Blair.
I'd like to ask to remove 5.5 from the consent agenda and discuss, and then move forward a motion for passing the rest of the consent agenda.
Is there a second? Fulcher. Okay. Oh, to pull, I was thinking she was approving the consent. Yeah. Yes. And you're seconding the motion to approve, right? Okay, so Councilmember, you requested that item be pulled from the consent agenda. Do you have a specific question or concern for staff to address?
Yeah, it might be something that you guys had already talked about, like last year before I was here much, but the cost, it looks to me like Monroe City only has to pay about $80,000 for this because most of it's getting paid back with a grant. So that's one of my questions. One of my questions is will they be giving us any information besides just the feasibility of an overpass? Because there are other things like the wayside horns or the, I can't remember, it's called like the silent district when they go through a town and have it be quiet. Like at the end of their survey, I'm wondering if they're gonna give us other alternatives besides the multi-million-dollar going over the roadway crossings. So,
Okay.
and because, I mean, out of the 5 crossings, the likelihood that the millions of dollars that it would cost when we actually already do have a way around the crossings, you can go over 522 and get through the town of Monroe if you were the ambulance, if you needed to get through. There are some towns that don't have that convenience where we already do. So I'm just thinking, in the long term, is it ever going to be something we are going to want to spend millions of dollars on to possibly create that? And one more. Okay, I think that's all the questions I have.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thanks.
A motion has been made by Councilmember Blair and seconded by Councilmember Fulcher to approve the consent agenda minus 5.5, removing that from the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes 6-0. Okay, we'll address the, is that Jacob? Awesome.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. So Councilmember Blair, I believe I wrote down your questions as you asked them, but if I missed one, please circle back around to it for me. So yes to the question regarding the city's match is $80,000, provided, of course, that the project doesn't go over budget. The likelihood of that happening in a grant or a study scenario is very, very low, but just kind of prefacing that and saying that way. Will the city be getting information other than regarding a grade separation, overpass, underpass, whichever one it would turn out to be? It is likely that the city will be able to incorporate some of those things into the grant documents so that when we negotiate with the consultant who's doing the work and also with the Federal Railroad Administration who oversees the grant, we could try to incorporate those. I would need a little bit more specific direction from council on what council would like to see in that before we go ahead and execute any agreements with consultants to do the work, but also we'd kind of need a pre-approval from FRA if we want to diverge. There is some language in the grant that allows for a little bit of that. It's a little bit soft, and so that could be incorporated. I would need to know a little bit more on what council would like to see. Let's see, specific to the quiet zone area, this grant is not oriented towards evaluating the safety scores of all of our crossings. As I think council understands, there's a kind of a matrix for how that's done inside of a city. And so it's not intended to fund any additional quiet zone studies at, say, Kelsey Street, where we are still in the process with a different grant for over $1 million of establishing an area there. And then last but not least, is this a viable project over the long term? I think that's really what this study would tell us, whether or not the cost of this is feasible for the city or if it's something that's desirable. When you give the cost benefit analysis for that, is this something the city would want to see? So I think I got everything there. All right, hopefully I didn't ramble too much. Thank you.
Councilmember Gamble.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, I mean, one of the other reasons why we wanted to do this is because it's beyond just that, we do have the flyover, but the biggest piece of that is we don't have a pedestrian flyover, so it is cut off from the standpoint of, pedestrians back and forth, and as we look to link the downtown to the north and movability about the cities, which is one of our stated goals, the walkability, that is a significant impediment for us to be able to truly say that. So I think one of the things that this is also supposed to be able to provide us is that kind of the ability to look at it from and, hey, this would be the all-in, this might be just a pedestrian type, resolution. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, that gives us the information because the intent is for us to go after more grants that would give us that ability that would be specific to this type of construction, right? Where we would target where we're trying to get that movability throughout the city or, for pedestrian walkability and that sort of thing. So I'm very much interested because I know that is something we have. I remember before we had the flyover, it really sucked. Now we have the flyover at least for the car side of the equation, but to at least have what that would look like, potential dollars amount, maybe broken out by, hey, here's a solution, at least from a pedestrian and bicycle or whatever side of the equation, and here's what it looks like if it was an all-in. I think that would be useful for us to be able to make this, decisions, at least from a strategy perspective on where to put it in the long-term transportation stacked ranking of what we want to do. But it's always been in that kind of top 10 on what we want to try to long-term solve for. An example to point to that would be the part, the festival lot downtown. It took us 15 years, but but because we kind of went through that diligence and process and type of deal, we finally were able to get to the point where now we're starting to see that come to realization. So I just view this as like that ground block that you do in order to build the blocks to get there, and maybe it happens and maybe it doesn't, but at least we'll have the data and make it an informed decision.
Thank you. Councilmember Hanford.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I remember when we were in DC last year, I believe it was, or maybe it was the year before, and we talked with the Department of Transportation about this specifically, and just exactly what Councilmember Gamble said. It's like before you can apply for grants for these types of crossings, you have to have done the studies to know what's even really possible and what's going to work and what's not going to work. And so, just next step. That's all it is.
Any other discussion or from council? No? Okay. Is there a motion to approve item 5.5 from the consent agenda? Blair?
I
Councilmember
move
Blair?
to approve the item 5.5 as listed in the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second? Gamble. Okay. A motion has been made by Councilmember Blair and seconded by Councilmember Gamble to approve 5.5, item 5.5 from the consent agenda. Oh, Councilmember Walker.
Sorry, I just wanted to give a
Yeah.
quick shout out to Mr. McCorkle. When we were on that trip to DC, we were able to have a meeting with I think the interim director, very important title at the Federal Rail Administration, and I thought that was a great opportunity to kind of make our case for this project. So thank you for the work that you put into it, and I'm glad that we were able to see the fruits of those labors. So.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Oh,
May I?
Deka. Yes, you may.
Thank you, Mayor. To clarify some of the feedback that I heard, just so that as we go forward and we work with FRA and we work with our consultant to do this, some of the feedback I heard is essentially, should we be looking at this through a lens of potentially a pedestrian and bike only project versus a vehicle pedestrian and bike only? I'm kind of looking for maybe some head nods on that. Is that it? Okay. All right. Thank you. And then we should be looking at getting information potentially in addition to evaluating a grade separation, but other additional things that are related to maybe railroad safety at that crossing or at the crossings that are selected to be further evaluated, so that we maybe get the most juice for our squeeze here. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Gamble.
Yeah, and from my perspective, I mean, when I'm thinking of that, like the different options, it's also like if it was done in a phased approach, as if we were to go that way, because Yeah, I always hate it when, I'll look at an infrastructure go up and go, geez, we should have thought about, we spent all that money to put that over, do the engineering so that, okay, yeah, we may go, with a walkway or whatever first, but that it is a part of a broader, plan. And if you build that second phase, that it's a part of it, it's not separate, if that makes sense. All right.
Okay, a motion is on the table. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it 6-0. Thank you, council. The next item on the agenda is new business, 6.1 Ordinance 009-2026, amend MMC 9.14 related to false alarm fees. Ms. Wyckoff, will you introduce this item?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. Before you this evening is first reading of Ordinance 009-2026 to amend Monroe Municipal Code, Chapter 9.14, related to false alarm fees. If you recall, back in 2025, the police department reviewed fee structures for services provided to the public. During this evaluation, staff identified certain service areas where fee levels were significantly lower than those in comparable neighboring jurisdictions. They brought this to the Public Safety Committee at their July 8th, 2025 meeting, so a little over a year ago. And the master fee schedule, including the updated false alarm fees within Schedule D, was updated and approved by City Council via Resolution 2025-026, effective January 1, 2026. The ordinance before you will amend Chapter 9.14 of the MMC to update in order to be in alignment with the new fee structure so that the police department can start enforcing. That is all I have. I'm here to answer questions.
Any questions, council? Councilmember Beaumont.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Jody. I move to accept first reading of Ordinance 009/2026, amending Chapter 9.14 MMC, Offenses Against Government Order, updating and clarifying the city's regulations governing false alarms, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Councilmember Beaumont, seconded by Councilmember Fulcher. Any other discussion or questions, council? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Thank you. The ayes have it 6-0. Thank you, Ms. Wyckoff. The next item on the agenda is 6.2, acceptance of donation, Lake Tie Skate Park mural proposal. Mr. Teague, will you introduce this item?
All right. Good evening, council and mayor. For the record, my name is Kevin Teague, Director of Parks and Recreation, and with me tonight is local artist and muralist Charlie Wells. And tonight we're bringing you a proposal for your consideration for a mural at the Board and Blade Skate Park at Lake Tie. Next slide, please. Charlie Wells is a local artist and designer who works in a variety of mediums. He is also an avid skateboarder and frequent patron of our skate park at Lake Tie. He's created murals for private clients, retail businesses, indoor and outdoor murals, and is currently working on a mural for the city of Duval. So I'm going to pause and give Charlie a moment to introduce himself and then walk you through a few of the examples of his work.
Hi, like Kevin said, my name is Charlie Wells. I'm a good old local Monroe, born and raised resident here. I've lived across all the valley towns, but I reside here now. I frequent the park often, not just for myself, but also with my kids. And so that's a big part of why I kind of wanted to give back to the city a little bit and do a little mural work in a place that I go all the time that is not really the prettiest of scenes. You know, if you've been to Lake Tie and you see that concrete wall, it's not, something that you're excited to see. And so I wanted to take the opportunity to kind of use my skill set to give to the city. Yeah, I mean, if you want to go through some of the slides, these are some of my example works that I've done in the past, this being An indoor mural. It was 4 rooms, 12-foot tall ceilings, mostly done with brushes and rollers. Kind of a good example of some of the realism stuff that I can do. This is another indoor mural, galaxy, kind of big optical illusion, but fun use of using a corner, which is a really good example of what I would be able to do at the skate park, seeing is that we've got the big wall coming around the corner down there. The last one here is just another just big painting. This one is a 4-foot by 6-foot wide, fun, random commission. But another good example of the outdoorsy wildlife stuff, which is what I would like to do at the skate park, is a kind of a nod to the local wildlife. Kind of play with the lake, the water, the ducks. Of course, you got to throw some ducks in there because it's Lake Tai, and if you've ever been there, you know there's plenty of ducks. But then also kind of having just a general pattern that could be duplicated through the rest of the skate park, just kind of give it its own little character and add some color to the space.
Go ahead to the next slide. So Charlie is proposing to volunteer his time to paint the mural, and we would do that after Labor Day to reduce any impacts on the skating community, or to reduce the time that the skate park would need to be closed, or sections of it, with the understanding that the city would purchase the paint as well as the graffiti coating, and the city would prepare the surface for the painting, which would be pressure washing. That is a reoccurring task for our Parks Department. We do that anyway, so it's not an extra thing, but just something that would help Charlie as he begins his work. So go ahead to the next slide. Charlie's proposing the colored walls on here. The orange color would be the exterior walls where there would be the mural, and then the interior walls are the teal ones where he would carry that same theme throughout the skate park. And wanted to let you know that this proposal has been reviewed by the park board. They were very enthusiastic about supporting this idea. We looked at our public art policy and see that this is an original work that exhibits artistic quality and craftsmanship. The proposed work is an appropriate scale and material for this site, and the work reflects Monroe's natural geographical features. And then lastly, the proposal would enhance community identity and create a spirit of pride for our citizens in this part of the park. In addition to that, we looked at the city's donation acceptance policy, and we're following those procedures as we're coming to you tonight along the way. So with that, I can turn it back to the mayor, and happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Council questions? Councilmember Beaumont.
So when I first was reading through the packet and saw this, I couldn't believe it. I was just filled with happiness and appreciation for you wanting to do this. Beautiful work. I love your idea. I love how you're tying the art theme in with the fish and the ducks and the lake. My son, who's now almost 31 years old, constantly at that park as he was growing up. I was down there last night. I went and looked at all the different surfaces that you indicated that you would be painting on, and it looks terrible. It's funny, I run by there all the time or walk by there, and I never have really looked closely. You know, it's just kind of in the background. It's really dirty, it's grimy, it's drab, all the things that were said in here, and this would just enliven it. It would just make it so beautiful and fun, and I'm just so grateful that you're willing to do this. I'm 100% for it. The only ask that I have is it possible to make the cement side that's facing Frylands Boulevard part of your art so that motorists can see it when they're driving by, and it becomes even more special and eye-catching, if that might be possible to do that. But I just want to thank you so much. Really, really excited about this.
Thank you. Councilmember Blair, you waved before.
I had a chance to talk to Charlie before the meeting, and he was actually part of the group of kids when he was younger that wanted to get the skate park started. So I just thought that connection was really neat. And he was working at a spot that where David Hose, when he was doing the Napa painting, and he got to watch David Ho's work and even made a couple suggestions to him as a teen on things that he should add in there. So those two connections with Monroe, I just thought was really cool. Obviously, we must have a budget for art, and hopefully we could, I mean, is there any way that his pro bono is very nice? Is there a way that if we have in our budget to compensate him for some of his time, especially like if we do expand, like you said, that would be great if we could have it so that Frylands, everyone can see it driving by. I would like to see if we could compensate him for his work, and or maybe this is the start of a future relationship where if we find more things we want to have murals on, we could look to Charlie. So, thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Walker.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Thank you.
I was just going to say, before that conversation continues, I just want to say thank you for even thinking about, for doing this and reaching out to the city. I think that it can be too easy for us to dismiss basically a parks improvement or a city improvement like this as a citizen, because it's like government can do it. And unfortunately, government doesn't do things, whether it's a lack of resources or bandwidth or time or staff. Some things just aren't done that we all want to get done. And it used to be, I don't know, people would come together to do the bark in a local park, or a while back, I think a community group came together to do the backstop at the baseball field. But if no one's willing to put their hand up and help, a lot of those things just remain never done, as the skate park has stayed blank for so long. So please, thank you, accept our gratitude, our sincere gratitude, and please be proud of yourself for being that person that was willing to put their hand up, because you're a very special person in today's world. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Hanford.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to make the motion, but first I have a question. Is there, when you go back to the slide with the middle walls, with the teal, you were just there.
Yeah, right there.
My only concern is, because I walk by there a lot, and I see the skateboarders, which I'm not one of, so I'm not quite sure how it all works, but they jump up on the wall and like ride it and then hop off. And so my only concern is your painting going to get ruined there because of however they're doing their jumps and all that? Or is there a way to maybe lower it slightly instead of going to the top? I don't know how that all works, but that would be one question I have.
Yeah, so the locations I chose, is a good question, and very, something that to be considered. All of those locations were chosen specifically because they're not impacted by the skating. They're on the vertical surfaces that are under the ledges, and almost every single one of those ledges has a bump out that the skateboarders are actually sliding on, so all the painted image would be in these kind of areas that just capture grime right now and nothing else. So, good question. But no, totally in spaces that wouldn't really be impacted at all. To say completely non-impacted, it would be hard to do in a skate park. You got things flying every which way. But, no, they're in spots that are unskated, if you will.
Okay.
Great question.
Mr. Wells, with everything that everyone said, it sounds like this is a match that's meant to be. So I'm going to make the motion. Other council members may have other things to add, but I move to authorize mayor to enter into a professional services agreement with the artist Charlie Wells and accept his donation of labor with a value range of $12,000 to $20,000 to the city of Monroe to paint a mural at the Lake Ty Skate Park in accordance with the city's donation acceptance policy.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made by Councilmember Hanford, seconded by Councilmember Gamble. Councilmember Fulcher, do you have a comment?
Thank you, yes.
Yeah.
It is so easy to just complain about something that's ugly and make fun of it or go by it and not see it. How many times do we go by it and we just don't see it? Thank you for being a person who brought a solution. I appreciate that. Even more, I appreciate that you're a local guy who has skated there from the beginning, and I love it when you have your own connection to a project. You just put so much more into it. Thanks for sharing your talent with us.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Councilmember Walker, did you have a comment?
With regard to Councilmember Blair's comment earlier, would there be a way to accept a donation like this and then potentially put up a request for proposal for that backside or the wall that is facing Frylands Boulevard with an amount that could be compensated? That way it doesn't complicate the donation proposal. Yeah, sorry.
Mr. Teague.
If I could speak to that. With the advice of our attorney, we did a professional services agreement which has a additional work portion where if you all approved the contract, then we could receive a proposal for additional work that we would actually pay for. And there is a dollar amount, per hour dollar amount stipulated in the contract that if we wanted to utilize that, we can. So if what I'm hearing from several council members is you'd like to take a look at doing the Frylands Boulevard side wall as well, that would be a proposal from Charlie to the city. We can do it all within the contract. We are within the 2025-2026 budget. There is a line item for lake tie improvements. We've used that primarily for the new trees along Frylands Boulevard. There is sufficient, I believe there's sufficient funds to cover any additional work as well as the paint within that budget line item. So that is the route that I would, if with your approval, that's the route that I would take.
Awesome. Councilmember Beaumont.
Thank you, Mayor. That would be wonderful. Also, Charlie, I just wanted again to thank you, but also to let you know that once this gets underway, we will all be speaking about it and making sure that everyone knows that you're giving back to the community in such a big way, and love to publicize your history with being someone that worked obviously with one, it was Ralph Yingling. His son was involved in this. I was on park board when they were talking about it. But just know that we will just sing your praises because this is such a positive, wonderful, heartwarming project. Just wanted to let you know that. I will be doing that at least. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Gamble.
Yeah, just to reiterate, thank you. This is super cool. And I was looking around, I was trying to think, I don't think we have a mural with mallards on it, to be honest with you, because I'm an outdoor guy. I'm a deer and out type of dude, but I was like, David put a deer in there, and the only duck we have is a rubber ducky, which is running right now. And I was just trying to think of the murals around, so that would be great. So just really appreciate you stepping forward. I love the theme that you're looking at, and I know it'll probably look a little different than the AR markups or whatever that is there, but I love the.
No, it'll look just like that. It was hand done. I don't mess with no AI.
Oh, no, I love it. You sound like my daughter with her music. She's like, freaking AI. She hates it.
Yes, thank you.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Okay, a motion is on the table. It's been made by Councilmember Hanford and seconded by Councilmember Gamble. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Great, the motion passes 6-0. Thank you. And then Councilmember Blair, just to the comment you made about additional work, my hope is that we can do the wastewater treatment plant in Sky River and to paint that in the future, a big mural that highlights parks and who plays and recreates there. So more to come maybe on that.
Well, that's a dream there. That's
yes, thank you.
That's a big canvas.
Yes, that is a big piece there. Thank you. Thank you, Charlie. Next item is 6.3, ordinance number 008, 2026, downtown fee waiver program extension. Mr. Bailey, would you introduce the item?
Hello, there we go. For your consideration this evening is the renewal of the city's downtown fee program. Just a little bit of background and history on this. Probably most of the folks on council have been involved in at least one of these renewals. This is a program that the city started in 2015, so it's been going on for 20 years. It was initially started to provide an incentive for downtown revitalization. Essentially what it does is it waives the permit fees for a variety of permit types, generally without going through the list, and there is a list in the agenda bill, but essentially covers a small number of land use permits. The ones that primarily get used are site plan review, but it does cover a wide range of building permits. So when you look at the table that's included in the agenda bill that shows the amounts for each year that we've had waivers for, typically the majority of them are going to be building permit fees. There's a specific area that is designated for the waivers, and I know if Jody could have the map to show up there. It's in the agenda bill, but I think this is a little bit easier to look at. So the fee waivers are limited to this geographical area, and as a part of this program, the reason I'm here tonight is the ordinance that was passed or renewed, the renewal ordinance from last year in August, is good for 1 year. So we come back every year, and as a part of that, we also include the amount of year to year, the amount of the waiver, and that's included in your agenda bill. And so for this year, and this is only from, this is not, this is just calendar year. So far we've had the entire waiver was 42,000, about 42 and a half, which is a little higher than it has been in averaged over the 20 years. There is 1 year in particular that I point out each time I do this presentation. That was when River's Edge got built. And that year we had, I think, $220,000 in waivers, but that was a very large project. So for this year, we're about 42,000, and the majority of that is one project, and that has been the Gold's Gym, and there's been a number of tenant improvements that the new owner is making to that location. So that's the majority of where we stand right now as far as the waivers are concerned. One of the things that we've gotten since this agenda bill has made it to council, there's been a number of questions that I've gotten. Councilmember Fisher actually submitted an email, and he had some questions in there. So I wanted to cover a couple of things. The recommendation in the staff's agenda bill is for approval of the ordinance to renew. Some questions have come up, and I want to pursue those and sort of see where council goes. So you're not bound by that staff recommendation. And just starting with a couple of the questions that Councilmember Fisher had was suggesting that possibly the permit revenue that we would receive if we were not giving a waiver could potentially go to code enforcement in the downtown. We don't target funding for any particular area of the city for code enforcement, but additional revenue would go into the general fund, so it would help overall for code enforcement. One of the other suggestions that he submitted in his email was to potential, if we were going to continue with the program, is there a potential for shrinking down the area? So that would essentially be changing the boundaries of the map where the fee waiver are eligible. And his suggestion would be to possibly shrink it down to what just is the promenade area, which is essentially just the one row of businesses along Main Street, from the railroad tracks down to, I can't remember what the cross street is there, but that would be one option. I would add into, as we've gone through the process at the staff level of looking at our budget and everybody understanding that we've been looking at ways to save money in every avenue that we can. If we were not to continue with the fee waiver program, that would be an option. That revenue would come back to the city. So you can sort of see how much that would count each year. It's really unpredictable what that's going to be from a year-to-year basis. So a couple of other options that have been discussed internally, if council wanted to consider other than just renewing, which we could do, would be to discontinue the program or potentially renew for 1 year with the intention that this would be the last year that we would renew it, and we could change the ordinance to say that, or to provide a shorter term sort of phasing out to be, and just sort of tossing this out as a 6 month. We're going to discontinue this, but it would be 6 months from today, so we would extend it for another 6 months. So there's some options if council wants to consider those, as opposed to just straight up doing the renewal for 1 year. So with that, I will take questions if you have any.
Councilmember Beaumont.
Thank you, Director Bailey. I have a few questions here, and I appreciate your presentation. First of all, if we've been doing this for 20 years, and the goal of waiving these fees was to spur development in this designated downtown area, and maybe council members Hanford and Gamble can address this as well, since they've been on council for so long. Do we feel that this has been successful and helped?
I think it's definitely, it's helped in the sense that there are downtown businesses that were able to take advantage of it. I think one question that's one thing that's a little bit harder to measure is the fee waiver generating more business than we would already generate? Or is it just something that the downtown businesses are able to take advantage of? Anecdotally, I can say that the only project that I'm aware of that it was specifically mentioned by the applicant that this helped and gave them an incentive to move forward on it was River's Edge, and that was a very large residential project. We've not gotten that comment from other businesses. In fact, we generally don't have businesses come to us even knowing that this is here. And we've reached out, and we have a brochure and a flyer, and we post it online that we have this program. But we don't hear that, oh yeah, I want to do this project. What pieces are eligible for the fee waiver? It's generally something that staff says, just so you're aware, you can take advantage of this. So it's hard to measure for sure. My professional guess, I guess, if that's such a thing, is it doesn't seem to be. It hasn't. I'll step back. When we look through the reasoning for this over the years, one of them was a revitalization of downtown buildings themselves. And I would say that we have not seen an increase of repairs and revitalization of the buildings using this program. So I hope that answers a little bit. And you can, the members of the council who are aware of the businesses that go into downtown, you probably have a sense for this as well.
Are any other cities doing something similar?
There were other cities during COVID. A lot of cities waived fees, and some did specifically downtown because downtowns have a lot of restaurants and businesses that were really hit hard by COVID. I was unable to find any that currently do something like what we have, where they're solely providing fee waivers within an entire downtown. There's some cities that have areas that are designated for like tax incremental financing, and it's a geographical area that they may limit the amount of fees or waive certain fees, but it's for a much smaller area than what we're doing and for a defined period of time. Those are the only other examples that I could find.
Okay. Well, when I look at the money, over, since we started implementing this, we've got, $667,000 in waived fees over the duration of the program, and just in last year alone, we had $42,420. So I personally think it's time to stop doing this, and I appreciate you answering all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Fulcher, did you?
Thank you, I do. As a business owner, saving $175 has never caused me to spend $40,000. So this is not, I don't think this is why a business owner would make improvements. I think it's a nice bonus to come in and do your application and find out that you don't have to pay for that, that permit, but that's not why you do it. I am inclined to not go for this again unless we were just to move it to the promenade. That was actually on my list, but Kyle jumped in before I could say that. But if we truly care about expansion in the downtown, growing businesses in the downtown, making more walkable spaces and things that attract people down there for spending money purposes, we need to just concentrate on the promenade. Saying that as a person who does not own a business in the promenade, so I want to see them succeed. As it is right now, I think that basically 2 property owning groups have benefited from this over everyone. And we can look at the repeat of names, and we can look at the huge numbers, and that was not the intention of this. At least it wasn't my intention the last few times I voted on this. So, number 1, I suggest we change it to the promenade, and number 2, I'm about done with this. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Walker.
Thank you. Lance, thank you for the thoughtful presentation on it as well. So the fees aren't, just to be very clear, the fees aren't always they're not arbitrary. They're often because we've got staff time that we put into this, whether it's a city tech coming out to check out the project and make sure that it is safe. A project like River's Edge, I assume that there were countless, over a dozen trips by city staff to go and make sure that the work was up to code. Do you think that sounds about right?
Yeah, there's a very specific list of the type of permits that are and are not eligible, and it's in the packet. I should have made a slide to show those. So it's not every type of permit. For example, some of the land use type permits that are not allowed would be zone changes, legislative amendments, and things of that nature. They're more specific for project level. So like planning side, site plan review, and the planners also have a smaller role in reviewing building permits. So the vast majority of it is building permit related, tenant improvements, things of that nature.
Okay.
Sewer water connections are not included in that as well. So.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
If that answers your question.
Yeah, that's good. I just wanted to clarify that there's staff time involved that we're putting in no matter what, and we're also not getting the fee for the reimbursement of that staff time.
Absolutely correct, yes.
So yeah, to think about a business that's just north of this area, it's Henry's Donuts or something, they're getting a project and they're having to pay for city staff to come out, but a developer doesn't, that does kind of cause an issue in my brain as well. And then also that the city has donated almost $1 million in staff time for that, or $750,000 is pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that entire figure is all staff time. I mean, it's plan review. It's not a capital expense. It's definitely a staff time. And one thing I did want to mention, as I have researched this, based on a lot of questions that have come up, is it's arguable that there's an equity question, that why are we providing fee waivers for downtown, but we're not providing them for other business? And this came up, I don't remember the exact business, but there was someone who had a business outside the fee waiver, and then they were doing a project inside, and they sort of commented about that. So you can take that into consideration. It's written to be for revitalization of downtown. I think that's sort of where that got started.
Thank you. Councilmember Gamble.
Yeah, this is all good discussion. Exactly the reason why we put it on a yearly review, so it's good that we're having it. But I did want to just kind of go, because originally it was going to be just the promenade, and then we grew it because our whole intention was we were trying to build out that part where actually the river's edge went. And what is the number of living units that brought for us? Is it 200, or what is the number?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's
Couple hundred?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say that's.
And what's the average tax base, the property tax that comes in per living is like $3,000 to $4,000? I'm just looking at the.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, so $4,000 times the 200, because this is I just want to show that like this did exactly what we wanted it to do, right? We had something that they were not going to come here. That was one of the reasons, why we did it. So if you look at the 400 times the 200, you're 80,000, right? Did I get that right? No, sorry, it's 800,000 because it's 4,000 times 200. So it's 800,000 times how many years? Yeah. So just from the standpoint of, we always got to remember, we got to look at this through a macro lens. There's both sides of this, and I totally get the loss, but we wouldn't have this $800,000 worth of revenue coming in to do all the things that we're talking about if we were saying, if we were looking like this and going, nope, I want that $183,000 worth of fees. So that's the reason why we did it. I'm not saying it's not the right time to take a look at it, but just that's why we did it. That was the math.
Thank you. Councilmember Beaumont.
Based on that comment, maybe we need to look at these cases on a case-by-case basis. Because I agree that was a really positive thing for Monroe to get that development. And if that was the yes or the no is having those waivers, then yeah, maybe that is something that we can vote to change, amend somehow, so that if a project like that does come into town and we really, really need it, and it's beneficial for the community, that we could look at that, but maybe not the carte blanche. Thank you.
Councilmember Blair.
Maybe, I think I would like us to stay on the path of this was for revitalization. There were some other things done for revitalization, the different zonings for the promenade and stuff, and this does keep coming up. Maybe we keep it for the 1 year and we add it to our scope of work of maybe looking at the different districts and zones downtown, and if we want to continue this fee waiver in that same conversation.
Thank you. Councilmember Hanford.
Thank you, Mayor. Great discussion. Excellent discussion. I'm wondering, to go along with what Councilor Blair just said, I'm wondering if this should be something that we, maybe we extend it, or maybe we look at switching it to just the promenade for now, and then send it to a committee to look at and do some research and discussion on whether we should stick with the promenade, because I liked the idea, and I've always voted in favor of this, and like Councilor Gamble said, it achieved one of the things we were looking for. And so that's been developed. I'm sure there's other, developable land there that could still be developed. But that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. Councilmember Gamble.
Yeah, and I know it was brought up a couple different times about, hey, what about other areas? Well, maybe, it did have what we intended when it brought development down there. I totally get what you're saying. Like, in a lot of it, it's not going to be the deciding, but I do have other friends too, that like, the first thing they'll do is they'll go down and they'll check to see what the permit is. They're like, you know what, I'm gonna wait on this. I'm gonna wait on this maintenance activity, so they don't do the betterment to their facility. If you look in there, there's a lot of plumbing and electric, stuff for the different facilities. So, I know specifically, because some people have reached out to me and said, hey, this is great. When I found out what it was gonna be, or then it was waived, I was like, this is great. I think it's had a pretty good, impact. The numbers would prove that out. I think maybe what we're all saying is hey, is this something, we look at the promenade only, did we get the desired effect? And are there other areas where maybe this makes sense within the city limits where we are having trouble getting the development based off of what we have on the long-term plan that might benefit from this? And maybe we get that type of, payday where, hey, we trade $183,000 in fees for $800,000 plus a year in tax revenue coming in.
Council, just to let you know, we brought to EDAB a vacant building ordinance, for downtown. So I love the discussion you guys are having and looking at involving the chamber, EDAB, and the building owners. I've asked Liam McCorkle for a list of the building owners to try to reach out to them to say, hey, we would love some improvements downtown. How do we do this? So coming up with a comprehensive plan that involves 3 or 4 different strategies. This could be one, depending on what you guys feel, and moving forward with EDAB and looking at that. I think Liam and I are going to present to the chamber board the vacant building ordinance to get their opinion. So I think, I would love it if council would look at a comprehensive strategy, not just one tool, but more to come on that, to develop something that, we can have a few tools in the tool chest to spur improvement. Yes, Councilmember Hanford.
Thank you, Mayor. So, just to be clear, are you recommending that we go ahead and approve this for now as is, so that as you go to these building owners, we have something that we can point out to them that there's these fee waivers, and then over the next year, we have time to research, review, and see what the plan is moving forward?
Yes, I think it is your decision, obviously, but it's going to take a little while to come up with a comprehensive plan and to involve community, the chamber, EDAB, and to coming up with what are our other tools, and is this a good tool, right? Yeah. Looking at the data, so it really is up to you. I don't see, I would recommend doing it for the next year and then evaluating multiple tools and strategies and pulling it all together in kind of one package. Like, here's what we're gonna do, and then evaluate every year to see if it's working. But again, it is your decision. Councilmember Fulcher.
Thank you, Mayor. Knowing that that is something that you are addressing really does help, because that has been one of my concerns and something that people come in and talk to me about is the vacant buildings and
I've heard it too.
Other towns that do something, and you always hear about Davenport because they do something. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I want to know what they do, but they have like 3 vacant buildings, so 4 buildings in town. Anyway, I'm willing to give it another year. Thank you for that information, because we're all in a crunch, and giving away money to 2 parties in particular, feeling like we're not getting what was our intended goal in return. I'm willing to put one more year of investment, so to speak, into it. So thank you for working on that.
And Councilmember Blair.
I was going to do the requested action, move to accept the first reading of ordinance 008-2026, extending for an additional 1-year period the temporary elimination of fees for certain permits associated with development in the downtown area, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Second.
Okay. Motion has been made by Councilmember Blair and seconded by Councilmember Gamble. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it, 6-0. Thank you, council. Yeah, great discussion. The next item is council member reports. Councilmember Walker. You want me to start with you, or do you want time? You'll go last? I knew you were going to say that. I should have just started with you. Councilmember Blair.
So Councilmember Beaumont and Fulcher and I went to a tour of the hospital, and, oh, she didn't? Oh, it was, sorry. So I'm sure that Heather will have some things to mention about it. I'm excited that we have such a professional organization in our community. Just walking through there, seeing the way that the staff are treated and treat each other, the things on the walls, and all their safety practices, and I'm really thankful that the Evergreen has taken over the Monroe General Hospital, Valley General. And, they are looking to expand. I've seen some of their ads for a bond that they want to pass. And for the city's benefit, that is one of the areas that in the future looks like jobs are going to continue to come through the medical field. And so it would be in our interest to have a high-quality healthcare hospital facility right there. And so I personally am going to be supporting for that for our city to have good growth and livable wage jobs for people, and the ability to get quality care without having to leave town. So anyways, I was highly impressed with them, and I'm pretty sure that is the main thing that I have done since our last meeting. So that's the end of my report.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Hanford.
Thank you, Mayor. It's good to be back. Had a wonderful vacation, and looking forward to hearing about the AWC conference in Spokane. And hopefully someone was able to bear the flag this year. Maybe. Goodness gracious. And had the pleasure of flying back into the U.S. on July 4th on our 250th celebration. So it was very cool, and it was very wonderful to be home, and very thankful, as always. When I go to other countries, coming home, it's always reminds me of just how grateful I am for our freedoms here, and other countries don't have it the same way. So
Yeah.
That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Beaumont.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, the AWC conference was really outstanding, and I'll let Councilmember Fulcher talk a little bit more about that. And she was our flag bearer, and she did a great job. Got some pictures of her, and it was just really, really wonderful to travel with her over there. And she really is well connected. She knows a lot of people from a lot of different cities, and so it's really nice to be introduced next to her and make contacts of my own through her, which is great. Did a lot of different courses. We tried to divide and conquer, so we were getting as much information as we could, and we'd be happy to, I've been trying to put all of that in an email to share with everybody some of the things that came away from. One of the most exciting things that I sat in on, I think you all know that I'm really interested in getting more youth voices on part of our group here, and also just in the community. And there was an entire course offered on cities that have created youth councils and had people on council, and all sorts of amazing things that they're doing. So that was great. They also had a course talking about e-bikes and e-scooters and things like that. Flock cameras. I mean, there was just everything that we've been talking about up here was covered there, but with the added benefit of hearing what other cities are doing and what some of their challenges are. So very, very well done conference, time well spent for both of us. Other than that, I went to the French Creek Flood District meeting, or attended it via Zoom last week, and went to the America 250 celebration at the track, Evergreen Speedway. and saw Councilmember Fisher and his family there, and that was quite the fireworks show. I don't think I've ever seen anything so big and amazing as that fireworks show. And I also appreciated the fact that it was centrally located in one spot, because I too live in the Frylands. And I have been trying to enact some change on that front for many, many years. So that was a great time, great way to spend the 4th. And other than that, just enjoying getting out and about and enjoying our parks in the sunshine. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Fulcher.
She left all that to me like I'm going to come up with something amazing. The pressure's on. We really did have a great time at the AWC conference. I haven't been to one since I was a planning commissioner. I was trying to do the math, and it's been a little while. So I think it was definitely worth every moment that we were there. There were some times where, with that many electeds in a room, things got spicy. The annual meeting, that was fun. So many people, yelling all the parliamentary things. I was like, oh, this is fun. Okay, anyway, we were able to go to, like she said, so many different sessions, but then also some together. I went to some on ethics pitfalls. There was a really good one on fostering civility, which is so important these days. And we can all disagree, but we can find nice ways to do it. And sometimes I think that, as Councilmember Walker has told me, my face is very loud. Well, you said it in different ways. But, I can't hide what's on the thoughts that are coming out. So just personal ways that I know that I can apply some of these things. But lately I've noticed that we're not just rubber stamping things anymore. We are doing these conversations where we don't agree and we all respect each other, and I love that we don't agree. I love working with a group of people who have so many different views that we can bring together and come and find the best thing for Monroe. So one of the things we did get to do that Tammy didn't say was that we did a tour of the old Davenport Hotel in downtown Spokane, which was really awesome. I was kind of looking for ghosts or whatever because I love old hotels, but didn't find any. But it was very, very good time. It makes me appreciate our council all the more. And there are some cities going through some things that we are not, and I'm grateful for that. So another thing we did was we did that council member lunch with the hospital. That was great. Good information from them. They've got a heavy lift ahead of them. And then on that same day, I had a CT board meeting. So, community transit just wins all sorts of awards for safety and whatnot. Our 424 is going away. We're starting the 900 bus line that'll get all of our commuters all the way down to, I think, Bellevue. So, some changes are coming to our bus routes. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And that sounds like a big deal, getting our bus riders from Monroe to Bellevue. That's been a big sticking point because you have to go to Everett and go. So do you know when that change is coming?
It sounds like an August thing.
August, okay. And is it just a couple buses a day, or is there more starting out with that?
I don't know the number of them yet, but it'll be more than what we had with the 424 heading down towards Belleville. So it'll be more useful to us.
Awesome. If you can pull up notes, that's something we'd probably want to publicize, or I could even do my Monroe mayor message to comment that you sit on that board and that we're actively trying to get more transportation options for Monroe, because it has been a sticking point out here.
Yes.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, I'll get the details to the two of you.
Perfect. Councilmember Gamble.
There we go. Yes, it's good to be back. It was a great vacation. I celebrated the 4th of July on the other side of the mountains like we typically do, and it was a very surreal moment because on the 4th we were watching Aaron Crawford on a concert, and it usually goes Aaron Crawford into the fireworks, and as Aaron Crawford was having his deal, the whole hillside went ablaze. So the Chelan Hills fire right behind, well, not the Chelan Hills, it would be the one on the other side with the Navarre Coulee side of the river. So that was a very I've got a bunch of pictures of it. It was kind of surreal. So you were live concert and the whole hill was on fire. Just, you know, that season has started extremely early for over there. Anyway, very thankful for all the firefighters and that have done their work over there. I have quite a few friends that are over there, and they're extremely tired because it's I don't even think they have the Chelan Hills one under wraps yet as well. But that being said, I know it was brought up in comment earlier today too around fireworks. I think we have it on for discussion coming, you know, in the near future. I just want to make sure when it does come back, because from my perspective and looking at it, there's two separate issues. There's you know, that we have legal fireworks that are sold, and there's all of that discussion that we go through on a regular basis in reviewing the totality of that decision. And then there is the, hey, what about what's already on the books, and are we enforcing that? Because the one thing that, you know, one of the things that I've always, you know, been is like, okay, I really would suck if you go through all of this work and we redo a fireworks policy, that sort of thing. You know, there's a pretty significant impact to the 501c3s locally if we do that, and then it doesn't do anything. So, I mean, that would be a travesty. You know, you still have the same issue in the, you know, in the communities, and we really didn't do anything. And so from my perspective, as we look and we study this, I really want to zero in on first and foremost is what are we doing about, what can we do? What are the levers that we have on the enforcement side for stuff that we know is already, you know, illegal? And how do we put teeth? Is there anything we can do as a governing body to, you know, add on that component? Because the last several times that we've looked at data on the different cities that have put bans in place, the number of calls to the police department actually explodes. And so the concept from the standpoint of we don't have enough workforce to support the stuff that's how we are today, if we were to get rid of it tomorrow, it goes by a factor, you know, of X. So that's where my head goes. I just want what can we do as a governing body to put maybe more teeth into enforcing the stuff that we already have on the books, and then potentially, if we go down the road or the other, that we have that we can look to in order to enforce it, if that goes on the books. But right now, we're not even doing it on the stuff that. So from my perspective, it just has that glowing neon look of, hey, pat ourselves on the backs, we fixed the problem, we banned it, and we didn't really do anything. So anyway. Looking forward to that discussion when it comes through, and then also just for note, I may not be here next Tuesday.
Okay.
I think, yeah, that's, it all depends if I take my birthday off or not, so.
Well, if you come, we will sing you happy birthday.
That's why I'm gonna
so
take my birthday
should
off. That's why I'm gonna
attend.
take my birthday
We'll
off.
even have a little cake. Is that it? All right. Back to you, Councilmember Walker. I'm going to just end with you every single meeting,
Please,
okay? You will have
please.
that special, yep.
I don't know why this always blindsides me every week. First off, Councilmember Fulcher, my comments about your face, I will say you have an authentic face, okay? I appreciate you. With regard to fireworks, Ryan, thank you for coming and talking today. It is an active discussion every year after the 4th of July. And what the reason I bring that up is because every comment literally does affect the dialogue every year. And I never want residents to think that it is a settled matter because though it's not banned one year, it still gets fiercely debated every year. And while fireworks are allowed, again, just encourage all residents, if you have that problem neighbor that seems to be launching fireworks on the 2nd or the 5th, it's always worth calling and reporting them, because if they're not reported at all, then we're not going to have the data, and also they're not going to get the potential repercussions of breaking the city ordinance.
No, sorry. Yeah, you can come back to council next week and speak at public comment time. That would be great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry if I was
Councilmember
wrong against the
Walker.
website, and I hope that you email or come in again next week. But yeah, thank you for the feedback. Looking forward to a continued discussion on it. With regard to the 4th of July, I was out of town as well, but it seemed like, as always, it was a good event here, and for the most part, there weren't any major fires, which we always have to be appreciative of. The 4th of July, my wife makes fun of me because I'm such a big Ken Burns fan. He's if you don't know, the guy that does the documentaries on PBS that she says a lot of senior citizens watch, and then me. She says his voice could put her to sleep, but Revolutionary War, his series on that, and the Civil War, I've been watching those again lately, and we think about fireworks and party on the 4th of July, but especially because it's the 250th, it is seriously an unbelievable miracle to have what we have. You hear about in the media, oh, are we approaching a civil war because of division between us? And it's like, oh my God, would it be so tragic and such a, yeah, it'd be just a travesty to all of the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of Americans who suffered absolute brutality, towns that were completely destroyed during the Civil War, people who had their homes raided and destroyed in the Revolutionary War. We are so blessed to have what we have, to drive on the roads, whatever amount of potholes are supposedly out there, to have the police that we do, to have the fire department that we do, to have the infrastructure that we do. It all comes from the democratic processes, the cordiality, and the way that things are worked out. We are just so blessed to be under that flag, and I'm grateful to be an American, grateful to our city and our residents for making this experiment happen and making it happen so beautifully. Thank you to the staff as well for the setup and the contributions to the 250th celebration. I love that our lobby is so patriotic. It's really awesome. And all the other events that have happened around the city this year that have made that a thing. So thank you guys for letting me ramble. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the extended agenda. Mr. Wortham?
Next week, 7/21, we'll be starting our Human Resources and Finance meeting early, but it sounds like our longest serving member was taking that day off, so.
They know that.
Yes, we talked about it already, so. We will be discussing the 6-year utility rate model review with Julie. And then for our regular studies session, we have a request to amend provision of sewer service by Mr. Roberts. Looks like the Jacobs show next week. Looking forward to it. So,
Don't be too excited.
for the 7/28 meeting, there's a P3 meeting, but it says likely cancel. So are you looking for? Nothing on the agenda at this time for P3, so look for a cancellation later. For the regular business meeting, public hearing for the ordinance for interim fitness center zoning for Lance, some consent agenda items. Julie will then be bringing the 6-year utility rate study to the full council, and some department reports from Jake and Julie.
Any questions on extended agenda, Council? Councilmember Beaumont?
Thank you. I was wondering why the P3 committee meeting was canceled. I thought we were going to continue a discussion on the electric bikes and scooters.
Oh, good point. We did meet today, and
Right.
we left it with no further action at this time. We're going to continue
Oh, really? Okay.
communicating. We're going to continue our outreach. The police department is partnering with the fire department, and for National Night Out, they're going to be doing a bike rodeo. Bring your bike for targeting younger kids.
Oh, okay.
We have some videos going out and some on social media and some flyers and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Is that it? Any other questions on that? Okay. Next item is the administrative report. Mr. Wortham.
Reminder, the council will be in recess for the month of August. So after our end of July, we will come back on the 15th unless we need to call September 15th, unless we need to call a special meeting. One of the things I wanted to bring up is Snohomish County Community Service Advisory Council. That's a long one. There is an invitation for a council member or designee to serve on that committee. It focuses on assessing community needs and addressing causes of poverty, partnership, and advocacy across local, state, and federal levels. And the purpose is to guide strategies and programs that reduce poverty, support individuals and family in Snohomish County. Meetings are third Tuesday of every month, 3:30 to 5 p.m. Those are remote. I double checked on that. And that's just a little bit about the board structure. You don't have to answer now. If anyone is interested, just please contact me directly, and there's an application form that we fill out and can move through that and get someone on the board.
Is that it?
One other thing. Do you
Yep.
mind if I turn to Mr. Bailey?
Yeah.
I defer the rest of my time to Director Bailey. Thank you.
So noted. Mr.
Thank you.
Bailey.
I hope you can, God, that thing is loud. I wanted to let council know, give you a heads up on something that happened today. You'll probably be hearing about it. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of information so you're not sort of caught off guard. This involves a building in downtown who will can get fee waivers still. This is the State Farm building, or it's the building where the State Farm business has been closed for a number of years, 2 years. And this started with there's ongoing code enforcement issues, started with a sewer line that was leaking, which is why the State Farm business moved out of there. That issue was never resolved, which is why that space had remained vacant. Recently, the city became aware, because we provide water, that somehow the water had gotten turned on. And so we had initiated inspections of the building to ensure that the sewer line had been taken care of. There has been no permitted work and no inspection done on that. And that precipitated the business that was in there. There was an article in the Herald about this. You may have seen it. If you haven't, I highly encourage you to read it. I could send you a link to it. There was a business that opened in there. They had to close because they did not have permitted services there. As a part of inspections for that sewer work, which is in the basement of that building, and that building also includes the E-Man computer business as well, and a couple of residential units upstairs. As a part of the inspection of the basement, it was discovered that there is a high potential for some structural issues with the building, and the building owner was notified that they needed to get a structural engineer to take a look at it. There's undermining of foundations and other things that really raised a red flag. The building owner had not responded with the structural engineer report saying that it was structurally safe or not. So unfortunately today, that deadline has passed, and the city building department issued a unsafe to occupy notice for that building, which we don't ever want to do these, but they have a very short time period. In fact, it's a 24-hour notice for occupants of the building, so that has been posted. And property owner has been notified. The business owner with the computer business has been notified, and we posted on the residential units. We're not exactly sure how many are occupied on the second floor. So you may hear about that, but until further notice, until they can get a structural engineer, that building is going to remain posted. So just to be continued, but I just wanted to let you know that just happened a couple hours before this meeting, and if you get any questions about it, certainly reach out to staff.
Yeah, any questions, council? Okay, thank you, Mr. Bailey. Next, Councilmember Walker.
Thank you. So just to clarify for the record, the structure of the building, the foundation is what is at risk? That was the reason for the do not occupy?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next item is the mayor's report. So I left the country on June 23rd, and you guys stole my thunder because I was going to say, coming back, you know, being out of the country for a couple weeks, that's why I'm wearing this, it makes you really appreciate living here and what we have and just the great community we have. And so I so appreciate what the two of you had mentioned and just feel so fortunate to live in this country. It's just a wonderful country. So thanks for saying that. On the 23rd, I went to the groundbreaking for Snohomish Fire and Rescue, which was great and really excited about that. And Councilmember Fisher was there and also Representative Steele. So it was a really very efficient event. You guys know how to do it. You put it up, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, took it down. So appreciate that. So thank you. And then let's see, what else? Appreciate Councilmember Walker for facilitating the meeting on the 23rd. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And this Thursday is Snohomish County City's dinner. Is anyone going to that? I am. Okay, I will. Okay, I will be there. So I will see you there. And then this week I am meeting with some community members who are not happy about fireworks. So normal after the 4th happens. So I'm willing to meet with anyone, listen to anyone, talk about that. So I'll update council on what some community members say about that. And then also meeting with people who want to invest in the businesses in Monroe and have a couple meetings set up around that. So we've got some really great community members who want to make investments in Monroe. And I told EDAB, I will meet with them all day long to see what we can do as a community to improve our businesses here and do anything we can to have more services for residents. So that's my week. And I just want to also thank Sherry for all the work she's done with America 250. You guys, I mean, you made the comment. She is amazing and just really has taken hold of this. So just really appreciate all her work on this. So thank you. Councilmember Beaumont.
I'm sorry to interrupt your report, but I just wanted to let you know that last Thursday, Teresa Willard, Sherry, and I were on a Zoom call with Lieutenant Governor Denny Hack. And just updating on what the Sky Valley has done for America 250, and Sherry was part of that, and she has done a great job. So thank you.
Yep, she has. Okay, no need for an executive session this evening. Anything else, council, staff? Anything else? No? There being no further business and no objections, the meeting will now be adjourned. Hearing no objections, it's adjourned. Yeah, so when they...